if you're trying to figure this out all by yourself, you're going to struggle. To be blunt about it. Dude, did you listen to your episode back about your reflection on Africa, by the way?
I have not.
I mean, it was just released, like, right? We're recording this a week in advance, but I listened to it back and it's really good. Like, it's a really good legacy piece for you and Paula, just to like have always of like how you felt after that trip. So definitely save that episode because it was really good. And I've heard, and people have already listened to it, and I've gotten some text saying it was really cool. But anyway, I thought that it would be awesome to piggyback from that. We did the Japanese series around philosophies and ideas and frameworks and their way of life. It's like, well, why don't we move continents? Let's move to Africa, dude. And let's talk about various ways of life, and they're not motivational intentions or modern ways. These are like spans thousands of years. And so I did some research, sent you some notes, and I think we can rattle off, go back and forth. What do you think?
I love it. Another 3-part series. We're going to dive deeper into one of the concepts we mentioned today. And then I think we're going to do one really surrounding Nelson Mandela and some a little bit more history heavy. So look forward to those coming up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Obviously, there's this episode will be more so around, different social frameworks and ethical systems and cosmologies and ways of organizing life, and how they, all these different cultures in Africa, whether it's East, West, Southern, they find fulfillment in their actions and community and all that stuff. And then we'll kind of dive deeper into certain concepts. But Mandela and other people that bring these ideas to the forefront, we'll dive in future episodes. I feel like this could be like a 4-hour episode or 4-part episode or whatever. So we're just going to roll and go back and forth. I sent you 8 different ideas that I came across. And so I'll start with the first one. And again, we're going to have the same disclaimer as we did with the Japanese series, that if we botch this, the wording or the pronunciation of these, if anyone knows these and is offended, we apologize in advance. We're trying our best. But they're really neat concept.
I think also, real quickly before jumping in, had a chance to reflect, even though I didn't listen to the episode back. But as we go through these, I think in the West, where our listeners are almost all primarily living, our success optimizes for speed. And I think this African wisdom often optimizes for continuity. So looking at the big game, and depending on your outlook on life, the generations that are going to follow you and the entire ecosystem, right? Circle of life, the entire nature coming together. So I think it's going to be a nice frame for the listeners.
Yeah, I'm really glad you framed that up that way, because you're right. We're success over here a lot of times is how much money do you have? What kind of things do you have? How fast are you going? How hard are you working? And this whole podcast is about definitions and perceptions of success that might provide a mindset shift for listeners and for us. And this is very much of like in the moment, present, of being and being happy with what you have and grateful and sharing gratitude and all those types of things. And, this first one I think is a huge one all around community. And we're very self-driven and egotistical at times. And, we came into this world by ourselves, and, it's always like me. And, it's sometimes you forget about the people that are around you that helped you get there. And so the first one is Ubuntu, and that's Ubuntu. And basically it says, I am because we are. And what that says is like the core identity of this idea is you didn't get here without alone. You may think you might have built yourself up to this person or this thing, or you're building yourself up behind closed doors and doing it all on your own. But think about everything you've learned came from someone else. All of the confidence that you have came from being around other people or doing things and getting reactions from other people. Opportunities were opened by someone else, right? So you didn't do this by yourself. And whether you feel that way or not, this idea is basically, I am because we are. I wouldn't be here today without you. And I know we do this a lot with my team, my payroll team. Anytime they hit an anniversary, we give them a shout out. And we're like, hey, you hit your first year anniversary or 4-year or 5-year or 7. And we always end it with like, we wouldn't be here today without you. Like, you are the person. And we mean that wholeheartedly, because there's no way we can grow a business without the people that are behind us helping us build it. And so I think this one really resonated with me as an entrepreneur. You can't go it alone. What's that saying? If you want to go alone, go fast, or if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And I think that hits so hard, and it's a great one to kick us off with.
I love it. And some of the notes I put together on this one that kind of relates to the pod or the listeners is success is relational, which we talk about a lot, but that any type of growth that you have that disconnects, like when we talk about monk mode or going, which oftentimes those flow dojo sessions that you're going deep and getting a lot done, you may be productive, but the growth, unless it's going to directly and immediately impact others, what's the point? Like, your followers, the people you are leading, is not the same as a tribe. And thinking about the tribe, back to the last episode, that was what was so strong. They still identify not only as a tribe, but how does that tribe interact with the other tribes for the entire ecosystem, even though conflict is definitely evident. So if your success isolates you, your success is unfinished. That's kind of more of a statement, but that one landed.
Yeah, that one landed. And it just, what you just said reminded me of, like, if you are going through this growth period and you are getting, let's say, certifications or education, or you have gone through experiences, you withholding that information and not sharing the story or sharing the wisdom with others, this goes against what Ubuntu is saying, is like, help others rise with you by sharing what you know and your knowledge across the community and across your, your circle.
Amen.
So, all right, what do you got for number 2?
Oh yeah, it's over to me. Number 2 is Sankofa. And Sankofa, excuse me, states, go back and get it. Basically the concept that the past contains power. This is, I think it translated to me as history repeats itself. So our ancestors, the previous ecosystems, have a lot to teach us. And it's about integrating those stories to a modern environment that has changed and progressed, is the point. Not regressing and doing things exactly the same, but what are the lessons from the past that can shape us? What were our childhood dreams? What made us great when we were young? Those interests that really drove the life paths that we took or that we avoided. What are our cultural roots? Like, remember where you're from type of concepts. The Lion King was big on this. Remember who you are. What talents did you abandon? And if you're not reflecting on the past and just making progress, mapping toward the future, where are we going with AI, future markets, the striving, which is important. If we're not reflecting and thinking about where we came from, which we talk about, measure the success gap here, to have some gratitude and some pride, then you could be leaving something behind that, quite honestly, is going to help you get to those future states. So I love this one. And it's really about, to me, reflection and gratitude.
Yeah, there's no greater or stronger evidence than what you've accomplished or not accomplished in the past. And that's how I read this one, is like, everything you've experienced up to this point, the pivotal moments that you've had, that's stacking evidence that you're capable, and these things that have happened in your life, that you've gotten through setbacks, you've gotten through obstacles, but you've also had some really, really big successes. So this can also mean, reclaiming or recognizing the skills that you had before, or reclaiming the dream that you had before that you no longer have. And it's like going back and grab it. And it's like, it's there. You've done it before. And if you get inspired to do it again or in a different way, like, leverage the skills and leverage the knowledge that you have and leverage that experience to not live in the past, but take that as evidence for the confidence to move forward. So I think it's a really cool one.
Yeah, when we talk about how things have been passed on, like before the written word, there were stories. Like, and you look at this across the world, like the spoken word was the way that identity piece was passed on. Those stories, those around the campfire or teaching young people, it was all those stories, and the way the word was passed along is how that talk programs behavior.
When I think it also, like, your inner child, right? Like, you go back to the things that you loved doing when you were a kid, and you see this so often, especially in corporate America, of like burnout, and people are just worked to death. And you're like, man, I'm just in a rut. And I've gone through this personally, and how I've gotten out of it was tapping into that creative outlet of the things I loved to do when I was a kid, which was create, draw, write, whatever. And so you kind of get back into this mode of like, well, let's just create something out of nowhere. Whether anyone likes it or not doesn't matter. I'm just focused on creating for myself, so I can kind of build myself back up and bring in some more motivation and getting out of this burnout. And you see that all the time. And so that was tapping into that inner child of the things that brought you joy when things weren't really big. Like, nothing was major or big or pressure. You just were. You were a kid. You were free. You were having fun. And so bringing that back into the corporate world and as an adult, I think is extremely powerful.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Moving on to the next one.
Yeah. Number 3, Nommo, Nommo. And this is the power of word. Now, you know me, I can be a talker. I don't mind getting in front of a group of people and saying some things out loud, but I also have taken a point to like sit back and listen. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about spoken word and how it's used as creative force. And so it's be able to put together and articulate the things and the stories that you're trying to share with others, tapping into, hey, if you've learned something new or you've experienced something new, share it with others, and build that community and build that authority, if you will, to kind of add credibility and trust and develop relationships and whatnot. So looked at, not being afraid of public speaking or speaking in a room with people you may not feel like you should be in, is kind of where this goes into. But a lot of it starts with self-talk and positive self-talk and building yourself up, and kind of like visualizing and manifestation, like all of it ties into this. But like some of the self-talk is, when you say like, I'm bad with money, or I'm not ready, or I can't, and you switch it to I'm learning about money or whatever. And you're like, you have these opportunities to build Nommo in your life to use that as power for the good. Then I think it's one that resonates with me, just because I love creating new things to share with others, especially emerging entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And we talked a lot about how, affirmations, there's mixed thoughts on affirmations because it's got to be tied to action, but it's what we think is our vision casting reality. And that happens with the language, like to speak the life that we intend to build and lead. And I love that this was around. I didn't think this before you sent it over was going to be a part of the African proverbs, and love that it was.
Yep. All right. Number 4.
Seriti is our next principle. And this one surrounds presence and moral authority, which I don't know if I like the term moral authority. I go back to the session we had last week, and it's like, I don't know if there's an authority with your morals. Do you have them, and are you mapping to them? But we'll leave that to the listeners to decide. But this is the energy you're showing up with more so than the title or status that you have. Being influential without having to announce it, which is interesting coming through from 2 talking heads on a podcast. But the ability to share what's going on in your life without shoving it down people's ears and throats. And there's also a piece that took me back to our founder, Marty, confidence without ego. Like, be confident but humble, and just know that you are bringing value and that you're working hard enough on your craft to bring that to the table, and that integrity is the silent authority. If you're being integrous to your values, that's enough. And as long as you're continuing to audit those and live toward them, love Seriti as being that kind of guiding principle.
Yeah, that's a great one. It's like that quiet confidence. Like, you have one person that comes in loud, boisterous, and you have the other person that comes in calm, collected, listening. And you kind of know that the other person that's kind of coming in calm, listening, you almost show more authority. And really, it's not authority to like put the hammer down. It's just thought leadership and someone that I can learn from, right? And so, do you demand respect, or do you command it, right? Is it something that is coming to you, or is it something that you're forcing someone But I think it's hard, right? Because you do have this, like you want these things to happen, and you need people in your life to help you get there. Confidence over ego, 100%. And number 5, wasn't there a gorilla named Harambee?
That's what was cracking me up when you sent this over and this one popped up. Didn't know about this either, but the irony of all of social media coming together, definitely a bunch of young men fraternities
Yeah.
about this gorilla, the gorilla that most listeners will know that was shot at the zoo. They made a tough call and shot this animal after a kid snuck into the zoo. But just interesting. Everyone came together and was getting so vocal, call it a protest or not. But I thought that was so ironic that and that isolation slows destiny was another clip I saw in this one, like a phrase.
Yeah.
And him being in the zoo obviously wasn't isolated, but there were just too many interesting things about this one when you sent it over.
I know. Well, when I saw that one too, I was like, oh, that's why he was named that. I had no idea. Harambee. This is where we all pull together. Collaboration multiplies success. And now you dive into this principle and you're like, okay, well, there's a theme across all of these so far. Like it's all relational and it's all community driven. It's there is no I or me. It's very much us. And that's what, all pulling this together. I mean, how often, you and I are blessed to be able to have a men's group, a mastermind group, Junto, that we talk a lot about on this podcast. And we have a group of guys that we can just share stories with and share things that we may need some help with, or it helps us each level up, and we get to watch each other level up. We don't even have to talk about it. We just kind of watch each other do, what are this guy's doing? What is that guy doing? And it kind of helps you level up to different ways. But not a lot of people have these mastermind type groups. And I think if you don't, but you're a small business owner, like just getting into networking groups and, finding the circles, that's where the magic really happens. Like if you're trying to figure this out all by yourself, you're going to struggle. To be blunt about it, you need to find these groups, these core groups, these inner circles, these entrepreneur groups, these, and if you're not an entrepreneur, there's plenty of other groups that you can do personally. Like, what are you into? What are your hobbies, whatever, and surround yourself around the people that around the things you like to do. If you like to road bike, find a road biking club. If you like to read, find a book club, right? And just be around the people that love the things that you love and pull each other up together for the success that you're trying to achieve. And so Harambee is a great one. And I go back to you're not able to create or achieve any sort of real success without those around you. And what's another saying is like, look at the 5 closest people that you hang out with, and that'll tell you kind of where your life is going, or where it is now. And so do you need to make some changes? Do you need to figure out how to pull it together with like-minded individuals to the levels of the success that you want to get to?
Absolutely. Alignment compounds results with that tribe that you're building. Couldn't agree more. The next one is Maat. And this one, it might be my favorite because I think it's everything. And Maat really encompasses truth, balance, and harmony. That success has to align with your truth. We've talked a lot about if you're in the wrong environment, on the wrong mission, you're not aligned with it. That's where the problems can surface, and you push them down and keep thinking if you're on the wrong path, any road will get you there type of deal. And it's peace versus going after just success results in profit. If you don't have internal peace, there's nothing. This was so timely. As I was thinking through the goals, like my relationship with reality and having peace with it, no matter whether it's positive or negative, and doing what it takes to keep that oscillation wherever, to find that peace balance is everything. Peace during challenging and negative times. If you've got that, still a work in progress for me, but the fact that it's on the radar and working on it is huge.
That's so hard. It's so hard for, like a harmonious life. Like, what does that mean? Like, it's just so is. Right. It just is. And it's like, you just find peace and like, it is what it is. Like, oh gosh, that's so difficult.
And even the other term that came up was even ethical shortcuts. Even if you find, this is a really great way to get what I want. And again, you're not infringing on other people's rights. those can still erode foundations because you didn't put in the peaceful soul harmony locked way to self-discover and get there. So avoiding shortcuts was big, and you don't want that harmony or peace to collapse in your pursuit of achievement.
Well, it's you asking yourself, what are you sacrificing to achieve this outcome that doesn't even really going to fulfill or make you happy, even though you think it might? You know, are you going to sacrifice your family? Are you going to sacrifice your health? Where can you find peace to be able to keep those things intact and things that really matter for longevity and love and happiness and joy and all those things? I think that's where it's at. But yeah, I think that's the ultimate level of success. It doesn't matter where you are, how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you live, what kind of house you live in. If you find harmony and flow and peace in everyday life, it doesn't matter if it's obstacles, things up or down. Is there any other better definition than success right there? Like, I don't know. Like, that's pretty legit because it's all perspective. Like, your definition's different than mine. Mine's different than the next person's, but that seems pretty likely at the top, where no matter how life is, you find it to be harmonious and you just really are enjoying it. Purpose, alignment, mindset, visualize it, all of it is tapped into that. And
there's a lot of letting go that is required for this one.
Yeah, you got a lot
of letting go.
100%. You got to just roll. Okay, number 7, Ujamaa. So this is where we get into like the economics of it. It's more of a like cooperative, and where the benefits of your profits, where are those going? Are you helping others and giving money back? Does your success empower the community? Do you hire within your organization? You know, how are you building community wealth? How are you lifting each other up, and long-term loyalty, and it strengthens the ecosystem much higher.
And the overall impact, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like part of your purpose. Like, what is your overall purpose? Is making a positive impact on others a big piece of that? Well, that's where this comes in, is that's what this, this principle stands for, is everything I do is to, it's kind of like, and you know what, you end up gaining, back tenfold that you didn't even expect, and you weren't expecting and aren't expecting, but it just happens that way. And other successes and opportunities follow.
We're going to close this one out with a succinct definition of this principle, because we'll be coming back at you next week, because we had to do a deep dive, given its alignment with the Successful podcast and the amount that I saw down in Africa. But the last concept is Baobab. And this is, if you've seen what you're thinking of as an African tree, the Lion King, this is the name they gave that tree because of its tie to endurance and how long these trees live because of how they're built. But think endurance, think the bamboo shoot, which is interesting with the letters that are involved between Baobab and bamboo. But that long-term vision, we're going to do a deep dive on this one for you next week. So hoping these are valuable as the Japanese ones we went through, but things to consider. Who's benefiting from your success from a community aspect? Does your ambition align with peace, with what you're trying to achieve? Are you finding peace there? The continuous battle that Stephen and I are fighting. And are you building for speed or sustainability? And are you winning alone? I think those are some things to contemplate today, wherever you're listening. And we'll be back at you next week.